When I tell you Atlanta is on fire right now, I mean, grab your popcorn. Because this just went from internet trash talk to full-blown front yard warfare. Charleston White thought he could clown King Harris for clicks, call him a spoiled rapper baby, and walk away untouched. Oh no, baby. You don't poke T.I.'s bloodline and expect a motivational podcast. You get a Southern sermon with fists and fury. Word? On the street is T. I didn't. Just clap back online, he pulled up. Yep, tip. Went from rubber band man to pull-up plan real quick. 1 minute Charleston's on live throwing shade. The next, he's looking out his window like, wait, is that T.I. in my driveway? And this ain't your average celebrity beef. This feels personal. Real personal. Like family name, legacy, and pride kind of personal. The same Charleston who made a career out of roasting rappers. Finally met someone who doesn't play that clout comedian. Game B. Because when it comes to King Harris, T.I. ain't a rapper. Ain't a podcaster, ain't an influencer. He's a father first. And this feud just turned into a war zone in designer sneakers. This makes the Kardashians look like kindergarten drama. It all started the way most disasters do in 2025 with one man, one phone, and one desperate attempt to go viral. Charleston White, the self-proclaimed truth teller of the streets, decided to do what he does best, stir up chaos. He hopped on Instagram Live with that trademark smirk, a cheap mic, and a Wi-Fi signal strong enough to ruin lives. His target this time, not a random rapper, not a fallen celebrity, but King Harris, the son of Atlanta's very own T.I. and Tiny Dot. Now, Charleston's mouth is legendary, the kind of mouth that could start World War III if left unsupervised. He called King Harris everything under the sun, a wannabe gangster, a TikTok thug, a baby born with a silver pistol instead of a silver spoon. And that last one? That one hit hard. Clips spread faster than blue face bail rumors. Every blog, gossip site, and fan page reposted it. Suddenly, King Harris versus Charleston White became the hottest ticket in town. But what Charleston didn't realize is that some beefs don't stay digital, especially not when you're dealing with Tip T.I. Harris, a man who built an empire off respect, hustle, and Southern pride. T.I. might have aged into the wisdom phase of his career. But don't get it twisted. The man still got that trap energy stored like a backup generator. So when the clips hit, Twitter, Charleston mocking King's voice, laughing about his fake street rep, and daring T.I. to teach his boy how to fight before he talks tough. Tip saw red. Sources close to the family say he was pacing through his mansion like a man possessed. You could practically hear the trap drums building in his head. This man out here talking about my son. T.I. allegedly muttered to himself, "Nah, not today." Minutes later, his phone lit up. Tiny tried calming him down. Friends told him to ignore it. But Tip wasn't hearing none of it. Because this wasn't about rap, wasn't about ego. It was about family. And if there's one thing T.I. never let slide, it's disrespecting his bloodline. Meanwhile, Charleston White was busy doubling down. On another live, he said, "I don't care who that boy daddy is. I'm from the real trenches. They from Instagram." The internet went wild. Fans knew this wasn't going to end with tweets. This was about to get real. Cue the suspense music. Because about 24 hours later, Atlanta's gossip grapevine started buzzing like a hornet's nest. Word spread that T.I. had been spotted near Charleston's neighborhood, hoodie on, eyes cold, energy loud. And that's when the alleged footage dropped. A shaky cell phone video appeared online showing what looked like T.I. confronting Charleston White outside his home. The quality was grainy, classic Scandal style, but the audio was crystal clear. You could hear T.I.'s voice, firm and sharp. "Keep my son's name out your mouth before I make you the topic, dog." Charleston, of course, tried to play it cool. "You gonna check me, Tip? You? I talk about whoever I want. Freedom of speech, baby." The crowd around them gasped like it was the Super Bowl. You could feel the tension through the screen. T.I. stepped closer. Hands tucked, calm but deadly. That kind of calm that comes right before the thunder hits, and just when you thought it was about to go down. Charleston started yelling for his phone. I'm recording, trying to turn the show down into content. But that only made T.I. matter. You talk for clicks. I live for family. Remember that Tip said before walking off like a man who just dropped the mic in real life? The clip went nuclear. Hashtags like #T goes off, #King Harris defense, and #Charleston White CLOWNED were trending within hours. Fans turned it into a digital battle zone. Team T.I versus Team Charleston. Team T.I was posting edits with dramatic music, calling it a father's revenge. Team Charleston was calling T.I the new Will Smith, saying he couldn't take a joke. One viral comment said, Charleston White talking about King Harris is like a mosquito insulting a lion. You just asking to get swatted. Another wrote, this ain't a podcast anymore. This is a public service announcement from the streets of Atlanta. Even celebrities couldn't resist chiming in. Boosie went on live laughing. T.I pulled up. Man, that's real love right there. That's Southern parenting. Meanwhile, 50 Cent reposted the video with the caption, this the kind of energy I respect. Handle business, not tweets. But while the internet laughed, insiders said the situation was way more serious than people thought. Apparently, T.I wasn't the only one furious. King Harris himself, who's been trying to build his image as a young rapper and businessman, felt humiliated. He went on Instagram Live and said, y'all old heads keep speaking on me like I'm not built for this. I don't play internet games. Fans said his voice was trembling, not with fear, but anger. Charleston caught wind of it and, instead of backing down, mocked the boy again. Ain't nobody scared of no kid with veneers, he joked. That's when fans knew it was over. The line had been crossed. T.I didn't just see this as a joke anymore. It was about respect, legacy, and manhood. When you spend your whole career teaching the world about principles, honor, and family, and some internet comedian spits on that, you take it personal within hours. Bloggers were reporting that T.I had contacted his legal team, not to sue, but to make sure every clip of Charleston's defamatory speech was documented. In other words, he was building his case and his comeback. Because, let's be real, Tip Harris doesn't just react. He strategizes. And this time, silence after the confrontation wasn't weakness. It was the calm before another storm. Tiny posted a cryptic story with just one quote. You can joke all you want, until it's about my child. The internet decoded that faster than Reddit after a Marvel trailer. Everyone knew it was about Charleston. From that moment. The feud wasn't just between two men. It became a full-blown cultural moment. It was fatherhood versus foolishness, respect versus reckless clout, and he wasn't done. Not even close. Because when a Southern king feels his family's honor dragged through the mud, he doesn't log off. He loads up. This was no longer about words. It was about principle. And if you know anything about T.I, you know one thing for sure. He always finishes what he starts. The next morning, the internet looked like a digital war zone. Comment sections on fire, memes flying faster than facts, and hashtags multiplying like baby rabbits on Red Bull. Charleston White had gone viral again, but this time, it wasn't for his truth-telling. It was because the man almost got a front yard. Fade from one of Atlanta's finest. Now, Charleston being Charleston, you'd think he'd lay low, right? Wrong. The man woke up and chose delusion. He hopped back on live, puffing his chest like he hadn't almost been turned into a trending topic with a black eye. Y'all saw that? He said, smirking into the camera. I think he can pull up on me. I ain't scared of no rapper. I'm protected by Jesus and the Second Amendment. Oh, he was talking big. Too big. That clip alone sent the internet spiraling again. Fans were split, half saying, Charleston's fearless, and the other half saying, brr, you're about to get smoked by karma. One fan tweeted, this man's mouth has no insurance policy. Another said, T.I needs to drop a diss track called Pull Up or Shut Up. And while Charleston basked in the chaos, T.I stayed silent. The most dangerous kind of silent. You know that quiet that comes right before the tornado hits your front porch? That's the kind of silence T.I had. Fans started noticing he'd wiped his Instagram of recent posts. No stories, no captions, no reactions. Just black screens and a few old motivational quotes like, "Don't play with my peace or my people." Now the blogs went feral. The Shade Room posted T.I plots his next move. After Charleston White confrontation with a photo of him looking down at his phone like he was typing an obituary, academics did a 3-hour live stream breaking down the situation frame by frame, like it was the Zapruder film. Then the twist nobody saw coming. New video surfaced, supposedly leaked by someone in Charleston's own camp, showing a longer clip of that confrontation. And this time, the audio caught more of what was said. You could hear Charleston trying to joke his way out of it, saying, "It's all love tip. I'm just playing." While T.I snapped back, "That ain't no joke when you disrespect my son. You a grown man talking reckless about a kid." The tension was so thick you could butter toast with it. You could hear people in the background whispering, "Yo, it's about to go down." Fans went crazy. Fans went crazy. One person commented, "T.I talking like a preacher before the fight scene in a movie." Another wrote, "You can hear the Southern thunder in his tone." The internet loved it and feared it. Because if T.I actually lost it on camera, it would be headline gold for every gossip blog on earth. But Tip didn't swing. He didn't even raise his voice beyond control. Instead, he walked away like a man who just dropped a verbal bomb and Charleston. He laughed. That annoying, shaky, "I'm nervous but pretending I'm cool" laugh. The internet clocked it instantly. One viral comment said that wasn't a confident laugh. That was a "please don't punch me" laugh. Then the memes came. Oh, the memes. Twitter had T.I photoshopped in boxing gloves with the caption, "King Harris bodyguard." TikTok had edits with dramatic music when T.I said, "Keep my son's name out your mouth." Even Siri turned the volume down. It was comedic gold, tragic irony, and Atlanta pride all wrapped into one trending saga. But while the world laughed, the industry watched, and Not Quietly .boosie went live saying, "See, that's what happens when old heads start playing internet games." T.I Dunn turned into a superhero dad. 50 Cent reposted again, writing, "T.I ain't wrong, but Charleston better watch his mouth before the wrong street catch up to him." Even Meek Mill chimed in, tweeting, "When it come to family, all bets off. Don't speak on nobody's kids." That one hit different. Because at this point, the debate wasn't even about who was right or wrong. It was about boundaries. When does content cross into consequences? Charleston tried to defend himself with the usual clownery. "Ain't no boundaries on truth," he said on another live stream. "If your child acting like a thug, I'ma call him a thug." But that justification fell flat fast. Even people who usually found him funny were like, "Bro, it's a kid. You crossed the line." And that's when public opinion began turning. For years, Charleston had gotten away with talking wild because people saw him as a shock jock, the funny uncle of internet controversy. But now, it wasn't funny anymore. It was giving bitter, desperate, clout-chasing grandpa. Meanwhile, T.I was quietly collecting receipts. His lawyers reportedly filed a harassment and defamation review against Charleston White, a legal move that's basically the grown man version of keep talking. We'll see. But here's where things got juicy. Insiders said that T.I had been recording everything. Every mention, every live, every joke. Why? Because apparently, T plans to use it all in a documentary he's developing about protecting Black fatherhood in the age of clout. Yep, you heard that right. The man might turn this feud into a Netflix check. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call chess, not checkers. While T.I played smart, Charleston started cracking. He began calling out random celebrities for taking Tip's side. He accused bloggers of editing the clip to make him look bad, even cried on live actual tears claiming, "I'm the victim here." That man threatened me, but the internet wasn't buying it. One comment said, "You talk like a supervillain and cry like a Disney princess. Pick a lane." Another wrote, "Charleston White acting like he didn't ask for all this smoke." And to make it worse, local Atlanta pages started sharing an unconfirmed rumor that Charleston's home had been vandalized. Graffiti on his driveway reading, "Don't speak on King." Nobody knows who did it, but fans had theories. Some said it was overzealous T.I. fans. Others said it was a random neighborhood prank. Either way, it proved one thing. This wasn't just social media beef anymore. It had spilled into the real world. You could almost hear the collective gasp online. The situation was now beyond jokes. This was reputation warfare where every post, every live, every soundbite could either make or break a legacy. Charleston tried to spin it by saying, "They scared of me because I'm real, but everyone could see through it." His truth had finally hit a wall called accountability. And as he scrambled to save face, I was somewhere smiling quietly, not out of arrogance, but victory. Because now the public saw what he saw all along, a grown man using disrespect as entertainment. And a father willing to defend his family with calm, calculated power. The tide was turning. The jokes weren't funny anymore. And for the first time, Charleston White looked like the clown who went too far and got caught under the big top of karma. But the storm wasn't over yet, because what happened next would change how both men were seen forever by the end of the week. The internet had officially turned into a courtroom with millions of self-appointed judges and juries dissecting every word, every clip, every facial expression like it was the OJ trial in 4K, the saga of T.I. versus Charleston. White had stopped being entertainment and evolved into something deeper, a cultural moment about respect, fatherhood, and the price of internet clout. But before anyone could take a breath, the story took another wild turn. Charleston White went live again, but this time not in his usual clownish tone. He looked tired, his voice a little cracked, his energy dimmed. "I ain't scared of T.I., he started, eyes darting like a man trying to convince himself. "But I'll admit, maybe I said too much about that boy. It's too late. The damage was already done. The internet never forgets, and the streets of Atlanta definitely don't." Within hours, clips of Charleston's half apology were chopped, remixed, and memed into oblivion. One viral remix had him saying, "I said too much over a trap beat." Another TikTok captioned it, "Confession of the Year." Meanwhile, T.I. finally broke his silence. But he didn't do it with anger. He did it with power. Sitting in his studio, calm and collected, he posted a message that hit like gospel. "We as men have got to stop letting clicks and comments make us forget what real integrity is. You don't play with nobody's kids, ever. Period." It was short, serious, and surgical. No yelling, no threats. Just truth. And that truth went viral faster than any diss track ever could. Fans flooded the comments with respect. "That's how a king moves," one wrote. "Charleston tried to troll a legend and ended up trending for all the wrong reasons," another said. "T.I. didn't have to swing. His words hit harder than any punch." Tiny reposted it with 3 words that said it all: "Stand on family." And that's when everything started unraveling for Charleston White. Sponsors backed out of his comedy tour. Podcast hosts canceled appearances. Even YouTube hit him with a content review strike after fans. Maz reported his old videos mocking minors. The same man who built his brand on chaos was now drowning. In it, he tried fighting back with sympathy posts, saying he was being silenced for speaking truth. But the internet wasn't fooled. One top comment nailed it. "You didn't speak truth, bro. You spoke recklessness," and the truth clapped back. Charleston's own followers began turning on him. Posting side-by-sides of his old rants versus T.I.'s calm message. The contrast was brutal. One man ranting like a YouTube villain, the other speaking like a disciplined general. Even people who never liked T.I. were giving him props for handling the situation. It's like a grown man instead of letting it spiral into violence. But the story didn't end there. Because out of nowhere, King Harris, the very person this whole mess started over, dropped a freestyle on social media. No announcement, no rollout, just a video captioned for the clout chasers. And let me tell you, the lyrics were a direct hit. He rapped, "I don't beef with old men who cry for a view, talk on a child 'cause they envy the new. You preach about morals but clown for the clicks. The real ones raised me. I don't trip on no skits." Within hours, the freestyle hit 1 million views. Fans went insane. The comments were ruthless. King just bodied Charleston without saying his name. This the first rap beef that got settled with bars and Bible quotes. Charleston tried to clap back, posting a messy live saying that boy think he can rap his way out of this. But it was too late. The culture had spoken. King Harris came out looking mature. T.I. came out looking noble. And Charleston came out looking like the clown who forgot when the circus ended. Industry insiders said the feud had officially ended. Charleston White's shock jock immunity. Nobody was laughing anymore. Promoters stopped booking him. Venues pulled flyers. His last few lives barely cracked 10K views, a massive fall from a man who used to trend weekly. Meanwhile, T.I. and King Harris started reclaiming the narrative. They posted a father-son video laughing together, captioned, "Don't let the internet fool you. We saw it over here." It hit harder than any press statement ever could. Fans filled the comments with hearts and fire emojis. One wrote, "That's what real family looks like. Stand tall, move smart." Another said, "T.I. turned a feud into a masterclass on maturity." Even celebrities started giving props. Snoop Dogg commented, "OG move. Nephew handled that right." Rick Ross wrote, "You defended your legacy without losing your crown." And Boosie, ever the wild one, said, "See, that's what happens when real fathers step up. No games. No gimmicks." It was poetic justice. Charleston White got exactly what he wanted, attention. But he didn't like how it felt when the world finally looked at him and saw a villain instead of a voice. Because in this new era, keeping it real doesn't mean disrespect. It means accountability. And T.I. showed everybody that even in a digital age of chaos, you can still win by standing firm, not stooping low. By the time the dust settled, the whole city of Atlanta seemed to exhale. No more threats, no more lives, no more chaos, just peace and perspective. But make no mistake, the streets won't forget how this went down. Charleston White learned the hard way that clout doesn't protect you from consequences. King Harris earned the world's respect for handling hate with art instead of anger. And T.I., he reminded the industry why they still call him the king. Because when the smoke clears, only one truth remains: words are free. But disrespect is expensive. And Charleston White just paid in full. And just like that, folks, another day in hip-hop history. Another internet firestorm that proves one thing loud and clear: you can't play with people's families and expect peace in return. Charleston White thought he was stirring up cliques, but he ended up waking up the king of Atlanta, and T.I. reminded everyone that respect still means something in 2025. Now let's be honest, this wasn't your average back and forth beef. This was real emotion, real legacy, real fatherhood on full display. T.I. didn't need a diss track. He didn't need to throw hands. He handled the mess with the kind of composure that made Charleston look like a background extra in his own downfall. But I want to know what you think. Did T.I. do the right thing by checking Charleston in person? Or do you think he should have ignored it and let karma handle it? Drop your wildest takes in the comments. Because this feud had more twists than a Netflix docuseries. And while you're down there, smash that like button like it owes you child support. Hit subscribe. And turn on those notifications so you never miss another scandal hotter than Atlanta pavement in July. Because tomorrow, somebody else is going to say too much, post too far or leak what they shouldn't. And when that happens, you already know where the truth drops first. This is Expose Express, where we don't chase clout, we chase chaos, controversy, and the cold, hard truth behind the headlines, so keep your tea hot, your screenshots ready, and your loyalty solid. Because in this game, one post can start a war, and one word can end a career. Stay tuned. The next explosion's already loading. This is Expose Express, signing off with no filter, no fear, and no chill.